take a look at what we've got. So you've got either an illustration or design folder that is going to have your AI files. Woohoo. You've got your sketches that you sketched in. Most of these will most likely be TIFF files. But if they're JPEGs in the sketches, it's not a huge deal. Where we really want to see those TIFF files is here. So as long as she actually placed her TIFF files and not her PSDs, we're going to be in business. If she didn't, we're going to fix that, right? So if this were mine that I were turning in, which is what you will do next Thursday, I would make sure to get rid of anything that I'm not using. So in terms of my templates, I'm going to get rid of all of these PSD files. In terms of my sketches, I'm good to go. In terms of my illustrations, I look like I'm good to go. So far, even if I hadn't thrown those away, it's most likely that at this point, she's in an A for her basic layout. She's followed everything sort of to a T. This is project 1. Oh, wait, I see one issue. Who sees the issue? Oh, come on. No periods. It's a sure way to screw up your file. Because a period says this is the kind of file it is. So the computer looks at anything after a period, .tiff, .jpeg, I don't know, whatever, Word, doc, DOC, right? So whatever that is, so you want to avoid any punctuation other than underscore, right? That would not mean minus points unless you did it like everywhere, then it would. In this case, I would probably just put a note in on your technical file, make sure to use no punctuation. All right, so file naming, she's got her initials and ID on all of her files. That looks fantastic. So let's go in here and let's open these guys up and let's see what happens. So far, so good. Let those open up. Okay, so now this does not mean that she doesn't have her TIFFs linked, and some of you may be finding this is happening if you're coming from school to home and back, and that's because Illustrator looks at things in terms of the hierarchy of the directory. So it says this file lives in this folder on this hard drive. When it goes to look for it, when you move it to somewhere else, it shouldn't, or it might not find what it needs to look for. Here's how I know if your stuff was linked and if it's still linked, is that when I open the file on another computer, like I am doing here, I go to Apply to All, and I go to Replace, and I go here to where your folder is, and I go to the template folder, and if temp-tiff is there, or our temp-tiff, and I hit Replace, it'll replace all of them if they were linked to begin with, right? So you did that perfect as well. Voila. Nice work. Okay, so what I want to do here now is I want to move into being able to get each of my files and go into a final document. So I do see some issues here.
I forgot to clean up the end.
Yes, you totally did. Not a huge and horrible issue. Here it's pretty simple, right? I can do a Command A. I can go to Object Group. I can then go ahead over here and grab my selection tool. I can run that right out to my edges. I can hold down my Shift key, grab the grouped object behind it, and go to Object, Clipping Mask Make. Voila. And save. And we're done with that one. So that was easy. Okay, this, you've got some issues that I'm not going to fix right now, but you're going to fix. Okay? This is not good. Why? Who can tell me? Anybody?
I mean, she's raising her hand, but
Yeah, go.
say it out loud.
Because it's not an object, it's actually just scribbled in.
Absolutely. Yep. So this is a recipe for disaster in the Illustrator world. So what I want you to do before you put this into your layout today, Serena, is I want you to fix that with nice hard and fast shapes like you used here. Right? Where you just go like this. And really, in this case, you can go right to your edge. I kind of screwed that up, but we can fix that. Hold on. So I go here, I go here, I go here, I go here. Now I've got a nice solid shape there, right? So let's make a new layer. Right? The pen tool, the pencil tool, the paintbrush tool, those are all things to use when you're painting or, right? But when you're dealing, like when your currency is solid shapes, what did I do? Where did I save that shape? There it is. Right? I want to work here with that, not there. And I want to deal right with that currency of filling the shape with something and stroking it with nothing. And I can very simply align it to what I want it aligned to. And we'll zoom in on that there. Use my direct selection tool to grab this point right there and then be able to bring that point onto my page. Right? So I can fill in those shapes and not even have to use a clipping mask. Right? Just by drawing them. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I'm going to attempt for expediency's sake today to take what you've got and work with it. If it throws a total wrench into the plans, we might just not use this particular one. So I'm going to need to actually create 2 clipping masks. So I'm going to lock those. I'm going to lock this. I'm going to go here. And you'll notice that I can get right to where these 2 items intersect. Okay. So I'm going to cut this out. So edit cut or Command X. That's going to cut that square right out. I'm going to go to this first layer. I'm going to select everything on that layer. And I'm going to group it. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste in Front on that same layer. Doesn't matter what color this shape is. Click on everything behind it and go to Object, Clipping Mask Make. And it's going to trim that down. And then I'm going to lock that. I'm going to unlock this. I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to go to Object, Command A, Command G, group that all together. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste in Front. I'm sorry, no, I lied. I'm going to go to Edit, Paste in Place because I want that square to go in exactly the same spot. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and grab the stuff behind it, and I'm going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and it's going to trim that down as well. All right? So we should be fairly close there to what we're attempting to do. Again, if we didn't have like the squiggle drawn things, we'd be in a better place to do that, but we're good to work for now. You may have noticed that some of this changed, and that's because you did use the squiggles, right? Does that make sense? So once you fill in those shapes, it'll work better. And it should be a quick fix for you. It shouldn't be terrible. All right? So let's go to the next one. That one's done. That one's done, although let's lock this. Somehow it looks like it shifted just slightly. Does that look correct?
I
Yes.
think one of them like moved somehow or like part of it got cut off, but it should be fine.
Yeah, but we're at least in the range, right? You can fix it on your own. Now in this one's built really, really well, right? You've got your different layers here, which is great. So all I really need to do is lock everything but squiggle. And grab everything that's on there. Command G is object group. I can grab my little shape here. Whoop. I want to go right on this layer here. I want to go right to that edge. So, whoop. I'm not used to this tracking pad. I apologize. So we want to go right to the edge there. We want to go right to the edge here. Should be there. Right to the edge here. And then right to the edge. Okay. And then we can go here. We can go here. And we can go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. Now the one thing that has to happen every single time with a clipping mask is that you have to always have the mask shape on top of the things you're cutting out. And the thing that's underneath it always has to be either grouped or, if it's super complex, made into a compound path. So as long as those two things are true, they're on the same layer, the mask's on top, you should be in good shape. So we've got all of these layers here, which is good. This layer down here, I believe, is your template. So who can tell me what needs to happen on this layer? Please, somebody, tell me.
Make it a template.
Mm-hmm.
Template.
Make it a template layer. So all I need to do is go here, turn this on, maybe change the name to template, something like that. You'll notice that the icon on it is different when it's a template, right? So I don't have to have it on, but I am going to be checking to make sure that the things you put in are templates. So let's go back here. This needs to be made into a template. Double click. It got named, but it didn't get made into one, so we go ahead and do that. Go ahead and save. And last but not least here, she didn't need a template, it doesn't look like. There's nothing on this layer. Am I correct about that? And there's nothing on this layer. Oh, there is a template on that layer. Okay, so either way, on that one, if we wanted to, since we've got only the one layer there, we could go ahead and throw that out. That's still the design you want there, I think. Right? So I've got 1, 2, 3. Everybody with me? Questions? No? So that's getting those already.